ecosystem wants to go, because you are killing the animal for your own benefit. But on the other hand, I would assume it doesn't have, I don't really know, but it doesn't have the same like negative effects on the environment, right?
Well, it's not so simple. It does actually have a pretty negative effect because mass fishing is kind of thrown off the balance in kind of the food chain in kind of the ocean. It messes up kind of the ecosystem. Again, if people, there's a very big difference, I think, between, again, I think the ideal right now, what people should be, not the ideal, what people should be doing is being vegans. It's not, it's something I plan to do at some point. In yeshiva, it's quite difficult. I make a lot of my food as it is. But
it's difficult after yeshiva also.
Yeah, but I really don't think, honestly, I really don't think it's that hard. I'll respectfully disagree just because I think there's a lot of people that do it. I think we're just kind of very accustomed to a certain way of life. But in terms of the fish issue, what I want to say is philosophically, I'm not opposed to, let's say, having, let's say, eggs or milk. It's just how they're produced. The same is not really true of fish, because I think killing fish is an issue. Again, you can't really know if another animal feels pain, but based on what we understand about biology, they probably do feel pain, similar to the way mammals do. But it does affect, the fact of the matter is it does affect the ecosystem. And not to mention that, a lot of other animal agriculture affects fish. So on a very practical level, when they dump massive amounts of animal waste into rivers, it causes outbreaks of things like listeria, which is a very serious bacterial infection that's killed already millions of fish on the East Coast. It's actually not healthy for you to eat these fish. So on a very pragmatic level, I don't think it's a good idea, and I think it also does disrupt the ecosystem at a very real level, and ethically, fish feel pain. So, anyone else have any other questions? Any comments?
Where do we get salad for lunch around here?
The fruit is
Carrots.
Keep up? I don't know.
I heard fish actually don't feel the pain.
So, philosophically speaking, you can actually never know. I mean, we can't know scientifically this kind of an epistemic barrier. I know that I feel pain, so I don't know that you feel pain. I can punch you in the face. Maybe you don't feel pain. I can't prove it by any. I can just trust you. So the only way we can actually extrapolate that anything else feels pain is if it has a nervous system that's similar to ours. So there are certain things that don't have nervous systems. For example, like shellfish, often don't even, they have such a basic nervous system. It's basically you can assume they don't feel pain. Or insects as well. There's some conflicting evidence in terms of bees. For the most part, it's clear that insects don't feel pain. They don't have a developed central nervous system. Fish are vertebrates. They have a very similar nervous system. They have a fairly high functioning brain relative to a lot of these animals. They react in a certain way to pain, to stimuli. So it's hard to argue they don't feel pain. So if you can do the research on it yourself, you can look it up. But other than very, very rudimentary shellfish like mollusks and things like that, even crabs and things like that fit not for us. What? Yeah, but even those feel pain. But mollusks themselves, like mussels, don't feel pain. But fish.
Is there any kosher non-plant that doesn't feel pain?
Kosher non-plant that doesn't feel pain?
Locust.
I would say locusts. No, really. Locusts don't feel pain, or probably don't feel pain. So yeah. Any other questions? I guess, but otherwise, I'm done.
All right, so first of all, that was very good.
Thank you.
Good use of sources, good presentation. Just 4 quick comments.
Sure.
In the first topic, I'd probably differentiate more strongly between Shabbos and Yom Tov.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, the definition of Oneg might be different than the definition of Simcha.
Yeah, the Rav brought this up, right?
Right. I mean, one of the things the Tartim is doing is he's applying Simcha to Shabbos, which obliterates the distinction.
Yes.
But in theory, you could differentiate between the two. Also, like the Bach I think is trying to reread the Gemara because he puts in one more word. Avachshav shem megdash kayam, ein ikar hasimcha.
Yeah.
And that word ikar is a way of kind of sneaking meat back in through the back door. So again, there's other legitimate readings, but the Bach is trying to deal with your question. I think the Bach is trying to deal with your question with the Gemara. Thirdly, I think I agree with you more than Rav David about the Rambam. I mean, the Ramban is clearly advocating for Meta-Halacha, and I'm a big fan of Meta-Halacha. Yeah. Isn't the Rambam saying things like do mitzvot is saying do all the mitzvot I've already given you?
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily lead beyond what's already part of the halachic system.
I think that's what I was talking about earlier. I think what he's kind of saying is that there's maybe perhaps a mitzvah, an imperative that's not like a clear action you have to do. It's not such a great argument about Allah. I think it's a very maybe subtle hint to it, which is why I still left it in, but it's certainly not the same as the Rambam. I don't think it's a great proof.
Okay, so we agree.
Yeah.
And finally, I think Rav Kook does portray vegetarianism as an ideal, and I have great respect for people who take it on, but Rav Kook, just to be fair, he does say that we're not ready for that ideal yet.
Yes. Now,
okay.
Here's the thing I would say. Rav Kook certainly says that, and he has a lot of concerns with it. A lot of them are similar to Rav Albo. That being said, Rav Kook died in 1935. I'm not going to say what he would think now, but the very industry as it exists today did not exist then. And I think that Rav Kook would draw a distinction between people back then having meat, let's say, small amounts of it once a week or once in a while as a treat, which was, as in terms of the strain of the environment and kind of the animal suffering, was not the same. We're talking about 56 billion animals a year. It was a fraction of that. But I think if you saw the effect it was having on humanity, again, you could take animal ethics completely out of this. You could say it's not about animals, we don't care about animals at all, simply based on human concerns. It's not even philosophical, it's pragmatic. I would argue that even if you philosophically think it's okay to eat animals now, just on a pragmatic level, for helping humanity, you should do it. So I think that's how I would respond to that in terms of Rav. But I certainly agree philosophically, he's not so clear cut. I mean, he says not for now. Robbie?
The idea that kosher meat is compared to Isha Torah in the sense that it's not an ideal.
Yeah.
You want to like stray away from it to satisfy your Torah.
Yeah.
How do we get to that based on the way it's presented in the Torah? Because like there's so many laws. It's not like Isha Torah. It's pretty clear that trying to get you out of this situation where your Yetzirah is like, lusting this woman.
Yeah.
But in the case of kashrut, it's like found everywhere. It's such a vast topic where it doesn't seem like the Yetzirah is being satisfied.
Well, I mean, I think that, again, I think the Bible quotes some sources that it actually is what's going on. But in terms of the institution of kashrut as a response to tava, I think you should read more of Cook's essay. He brings a lot of examples like kisoy adam and things like that. That he says are actually examples to show us that like we should be kind of embarrassed about what we're doing. That we're doing this for our own desires, and we should kind of like cover up this blood or spill on the ground to kind of show like number one, we're embarrassed, and also like look at what we're doing. We're spilling the blood of a living creature for our own desires. I think there's plenty of again, you can go through the album more inside of Cook. It is pretty clear that it is a response to desire. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
I think he's working off the pasuk in Sefer Dvarim, right? Ki v'amarta ochla basar, ki tava nafshecha v'chol basar.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty good then.
Yeah, and also I think in the context of like the story of Bereshit, like Rav Kook talks more about a moral failing than the tava, but he actually talks about a tava for bloodlust. That initially things we're not supposed to eat animals, but after kind of the Mabul, and this is again similar from Alba. I don't know if Rav Kook drew on the source at all, but it seems very similar to a lot of the ideas, so I imagine he was exposed to it. You see, it's not permitted, things go very, very bad, and then after the Mabul, it's permitted again. So I think Rav Kook argues, and Rav Alba also argues that it's a response to human failings. Humanity has this kind of this bloodlust. It wants to kill. As Rav Kook argues, it wants to kill, and he argues that we need to kind of perfect our human interactions so we don't kill humans before we do it towards animals. So I think there it is very clear, based on Cook's reading the Pasuk, I think it's a very strong read, that this is really responsive. And like the Alba says, it's responding to a lack of kind of human strength. It's not a positive thing.
Yeah, I just want to. I really like that you included the piece from Rav Kook about Shana, but I think it's also like it sounds like a side note. I think it's a really important thing for engaging an idea like this. It's something that like if you do accept that like there's kind of like a moral imperative in this direction towards like reducing our dependence on factory farming or whatever it is. Like the idea of Rav Kook's conception of Shana is that like it's the first step is like changing your consciousness and like acknowledging what you're doing. And, like from then you don't have to do everything at once, because like I think oftentimes people hear something that's like really huge, a huge lifestyle change, say like that's impossible. And so like that's realistic to say like I can't do all this at once, but like you take one small step and you like retain kind of that sense of consciousness. I think it's a healthy way to.
I agree. Actually, go ahead.
This is more a question for Blau.
Okay.
Are there any Mefarshim in the Chumash that say that the only meat that was available for the Bnei Israel to eat in the Midbar was meat that was like from a korban?
Yeah, it's Machloket in the Gemara between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shmuel.
Okay.
It's called Bisar Tava. It was Bisar Tava Mutar in the Midbar. There is an opinion. There's an opinion of the Tanaim that they only ate from Karbanot, and then when they get that's the shift between Vayikra and Dvarim.
Okay. Oh, when they get to the.
And then they get to Israel, then becomes Mutar outside of the context of Karbanot.
Also, there's two more quick ideas. The ones that came to my mind when you mentioned the Midbar, because I was talking about this with Davil a lot, and he said that I don't know if it's like there's actually a whole thing in Kol Mavasar, it's some like YU publication about the Rav, who, according to this essay, was very very adamant towards the end of his life about vegetarianism, but which I found the essay, I can send it to you. I know I mentioned to you earlier, but he brings the example of kind of the story in Meta-Halacha at the end of the Slav, where kind of Bnei Israel had the man, they were perfectly adequate, but they had this craving for meat, and they complained to Moshe and got the Slav. And in the end, they die. And it's a place called Kivrot Tava, because they die literally with this meat between their teeth. This desire they had, and they weren't satisfied with this beautiful man that they had. They needed this desire, so that's kind of another raya in the Psukim for maybe this negative kind of tava that they have. And one more thing I would say, and this
is that more function of the taiva or how they ask for it?
It's a good question, but I think perhaps they're connected. It's a good question, right? It's a legitimate question.
They also get punished for asking for water.
That's true. But again, it's called Kivrot HaTa'ava. So the very name of the place is related to the very desire they had. And my last comment I would make is that, just again, how we should look at this. I think very often people, especially Jews, say, okay, like most of this stuff's being done by non-kosher slaughter. It's not something we should really worry about. We eat meat from a smaller industry, less abuse, this and that. And I think that this really troubles me more than anything else. I think this is actually, of all these things, makes me the most upset on a very deep level, because if you really internalize kind of the mission of Am Yisrael in history, which is to be a Mamlech Kohen V'God Kadosh, an example for the world as to how to behave, we should be saying the exact opposite. We should be saying, even though we maybe don't consume as much, or I think we probably do, but even though our industry is not as bad, we should be making more of a statement and saying, listen, this is not right. This is not what we should be doing to the world that God created, and we should be an example to everyone else and take the first step. Don't wait for everyone else and the rest of the world to realize. On a personal and familial and national level, we should say, this is not right. Let's guide the world as how to do this. Let's not wait for everyone to come push us in that direction. So, yeah, Robert?
Do you think korban notes are ethical, like we korban an animal?
So that's a complex discussion. I don't want to get into that discussion right now because I think that the concept of korban I don't know a lot about. I basically know what the Rambam says in Mordechai, which is obviously very biased towards my position, so I'm not going to get into that discussion now. I would say that that's a nice theoretical question. It's very nice to think about, but I think the Masa, like Halacha Masa right now, like not actually Halacha Masa, like that's kind of irrelevant. Like we're destroying the planet right now. Maybe one day we'll be giving a couple of animal sacrifices for God, but right now we're like killing ourselves, so let's stop doing that now. So that's it.
Isn't there kind of a distinction between Torah talking about meat and Cook talking about not eating meat, and your jump to veganism?
So yes, there is a major distinction. I think that Rav Kook is talking more in a philosophical sense about kind of killing animals. So I think there's a distinction.
He also talks about veganism.
He does talk about veganism at the end, and the Messianic era, how everything basically there will be veganism. There's certainly a jump to a certain degree. But I think again, like I said, I draw a distinction between eating meat and animal products. I think philosophically speaking, eating meat, killing animals for your desires when there's no need for it is philosophically problematic. It's not necessary to kill things for your own sustenance. You don't need to do it. I don't necessarily think that if you can obtain milk or eggs ethically from an animal without killing them, you take a few of them, that's problematic. So inherently there's a distinction between animal meat and animal products, but the fact of the matter is the way it's produced today is so damaging and creates so much suffering that even if in some hypothetical sense I can go to like a tiny little farm, take one egg or take a little bit of milk, that might be okay. That's not where you get it from. Like when you get milk from the store, kosher like milk or eggs, you're getting it from an industry that constantly forcibly inseminates cows and has them pregnant year round, so they can be giving milk and then goes and kills their calves. Like you're talking about an industry that takes like the male chicks and throws them alive into meat grinders because they're not useful in the egg industry. But this is where you're getting it from. You're not getting it from some like nice little point farm where they take one or two eggs, you take a little bit of milk for the week. So there is a distinction, but I think halacha l'maaseh doesn't really make a difference. So yeah.
Very good.